Hey guys, and welcome in to tonight's live. How are you guys doing? Hopefully you're having a great day, a great Black Friday. Hopefully you got some good deals today. If anybody went out, let me know if you did any shopping today. I went to the store and it was a madhouse. It was madness in there. I had to go just for cat treats of all things. I know. I should have let the cat eat the treats he had, but he was refusing them. So here I go into Target. They had the line. I don't even know how to explain it to you. It was all the way down, like the aisle, like it was all the way down, like to the frozen food, which is at the end of the store. And then you make a left and you just keep going. I was like, oh my gosh, I could have kept shopping. I should have. I should have kept shopping. But let me know if you had any good Black Friday deals, if you got any good Black Friday deals, or if it was a bust. Let me know. Let me know. Hey, Ladybug, how you doing? Actually, let me make sure. Oh, I already did. Okay, just making sure I click the like button too. It all helps. And do you ever notice when you hit the like button, sometimes it doesn't register it, and then you have to like keep hitting it? I don't know. It's weird. Hey, Stephanie. Mary Beth, I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Cat's Life. Oh, Women Are Scared. Thank you. I got the email. I emailed you back. So hopefully you got it. Welcome in. Hey, Mike. Hey, Sirius. It's gonna be a good live tonight. I thought you were talking to me. I'm like 12-hour days. Yeah, sure. Sure do. Feels like it though, some days. Hey, DM, I'm on the TV. I was on the TV the other day here, and I've never done that. And I was like, "Oh, man, me on a big screen." Um, because I was wanting it was yesterday. I wanted to have my voice in the background so the dogs weren't as scared, because we weren't gonna be here for a little while. Hey, Lenora. Hey, Cyber Warrior. Welcome in. It's good to see everybody. Hey, Catherine. My eyes are burning a little tonight, so if I missed you, I'm sorry. And I know I saw Ashley come in. Hey, Queen Olive. No deals. I didn't see any. There was no deals like at Target, which I figured there'd be something. I mean, they've had deals like all week though, so I've lucked out. But I did get a really cool, cute basket. Hey, Naomi, it's gold. It's like metal. It's like a metal gold wired basket. I don't know. I'm gonna put wood in it, and we have our gold. We have like gold ornaments on our tree, so I am going to um put the tree up in here soon as well. Hey, Lisa, you shopped online. You did some online shopping, Catherine said too. Well, don't forget Cyber Monday. So, Cyber Monday, really good deals as well. Hey, Akira, welcome in. It's good to see everybody tonight. By the time I get to the end, people will start flying in because it takes me so long. I don't have my tree up yet. You guys will see it when I have it. I'm going to put it up, I think, on a live. I think I'll put it up. We'll do like a members live or something, and I'll put up my tree. I think that's what we did last year. Or maybe we just did a regular live. Maybe we'll just do a regular live, like Christmas live or something. But I have like I don't know how tall it is. I can't really remember because we just bought it last year. But I put blue and silver ornaments on the smaller one for my mom, and it comes in here and it stays in here. It's just a smaller tree, but we might have to put a bigger tree in here actually. Hey, Aries. I did put up my new Christmas tree today. Oh, I haven't decorated it yet, but it has lights. Oh, I bet you. I think some trees are pretty with just lights. I think that's going to be a trend. Give it a couple years, and bare trees are going to be the thing. Like maybe not even lights. Like, and maybe it'll go down to lights, and then after that, it'll be like nothing. Because like I just have a feeling a lot of people don't like putting a bunch of ornaments on the tree anyway, because then kids get to them, knock them off. But before we get started, I will tell you, there are these little, I don't know what they're called. They're like ornament. I wish I knew what they were called. ornament holders. Like it looks almost like this, like something like this. And you put the ornament on it, and then this piece will like slide up and it locks the ornament like really close to the tree, like on the tree. So that when kids pull on it or animals, cats jump up on your tree, you don't lose your heirlooms, you know? Because I broke a couple months ago that I had them in this closet and I shouldn't have. And they were Linux and they were from when we were kids, when I was a kid. And I think my brother, when he was a kid, no, his was good. I got his. Mine's the one that broke. But yeah, it was really sad. And hey, Lily, I meant to say hey to you when you came in. And Cyber Wars, that I know someone who puts up her tree in October. 'Tis the season. You got like 3 trees, Mike. I do too. I have 4, but 3 of them are small, like, you know, large, medium, small. So, and I know Ashley, she has a lot of trees too. She sent me pictures one year and I'm like, girl, you got the whole house decorated. It was like a little winter wonderland there. And I love that. 2-month Titan, wop, wop, wop. We're going to have to we got to get that song so we can replay it and replay it and replay it from JLR. Because he could be pretty funny. He can be pretty funny. But tonight we're going to talk about the Rhoden massacre. Like we talked about this day before yesterday. We took yesterday kind of off and we just talked about turkeys, and I don't even know what we talked about yesterday. We just talked about, you know, just things in the chat, what people were cooking, what people were doing for Thanksgiving and those type of things. So if you didn't see our lives from yesterday and you want to check them out, they're pretty good. And if I didn't see you yesterday, happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate. So, but tonight we're going to continue our coverage of the Rhoden family massacre, or some people call it the Piketon massacre. But we're going to go over the victims, their wounds, and including their autopsies. Their autopsies are heavily redacted, so I don't think that it'll be too much of a trigger for anybody, but just putting it out. I'm going to put out a trigger warning just in case. But I wanted to start off the live with this news clip back from 2018. So this started 2016. And this is going to go over a little bit of everything to get our memories refreshed. You know, I know we took a day off, so sometimes, you know, I mean, you can forget about a case, like a little bit about the case. So we'll go over and we'll listen to this.
8 people murdered inside 4 Pike County homes. The case was so shocking, it made national headlines. Tonight, the mystery of who's responsible grows even deeper with new details about the brutal nature of the murders. The coroner's preliminary report shows Christopher Rhoden Sr. was shot 9 times, including 5 times in the face, 3 in the torso, and once in the arm. He appears to be the only one of 8 with defensive wounds, indicating he may have been awake when the attack happened and was most likely the first one killed. Inside the same trailer, Gary Rhoden was shot 3 times in the head and face, including one shot that left a muzzle stamp on his temple, indicating a point-blank shot. Next door, a couple shot while in their bed with their week-old baby between them, another child on the floor. Frankie Rhoden was shot 3 times in the head and face. His girlfriend, Hannah Gilley, was shot 5 times in the head and face. One of the shots was through her eye. Both baby and the young child left unharmed. Just down the road, 3 more killed. Dana Rhoden, Chris Sr.'s ex-wife, she was shot 5 times across the forehead and in the temple, then up through the chin. Chris Rhoden Jr., he was...
I mean, what? 5 times in the temple. Do you really need to give her another one up through the chin? I'm pretty sure she wouldn't be living any longer unless they're using like 20. I mean, like, what are those guns? Like 25s that are the small guns? I mean, like,
he was 16, shot
even
4
with
times,
that,
including 2 through the top of his head. And his sister, Hannah, was shot twice in the head. And in a trailer a few miles away, Kenneth Rhoden, he was shot once through the right eye. You know, all of it together, a disturbing look at violence out there, and whoever's responsible is still out there. Reporting live, Brian Hemrick, WLWT.
If I were looking for, you know, these suspects, I would be looking for people that know how to hunt. like hunters or like, you know, somebody that knows how to shoot. If there wasn't a lot of extra bullet casings everywhere, and there weren't. So, I mean, it's a crazy case. So yeah, we're gonna go over a lot of the stuff tonight. I want to show you this chart that I made. I made it like in relation to the victims. It goes over their names, their ages, the relationship, and their causes of death. So it'll be it'll help us out a little bit. I had so much stuff piled up here to show you guys, and I was like, you're going to be here for 10 hours. And I mean, I still have like, I wish you guys could see how many tabs I have up here. It's a lot. So, and we will even go back to where we were before on the timeline too. So, but let's put this one up here and I'll, let me see. Do I have not a whole lot to read, but I'll put my glasses on just to be on the safe side. I'm supposed to wear them all the time, but not like all the time, but more for safety reasons. So the 8 victims were identified as, and they were all a part of one family. This is all one family. And you're going to learn, you know, the people that did this. You'll be surprised. You're going to be surprised. So Christopher Rhoden Jr. was 16 years old. He was the youngest son of Dana and Christopher Rhoden Sr. His cause of death was gunshot wound to the head. Christopher Rhoden Sr., age 40, ex-husband of Dana Rhoden, which I heard, you know, that they were still really close, and so she had a property on his property. So same thing. GW, so gunshot wound to the head, torso, and limbs. Clarence Frankie Rhoden, age 20, eldest son of Dana and Christopher Rhoden Sr., father of the surviving 6-month-old and 3-year-old, GW to the head. Dana Lynn Rhoden, 37, ex-wife of Christopher Rhoden Sr., GW to the head and neck. Gary Rhoden, 38, cousin of Christopher Sr. and Kenneth Rhoden, GW to the head. Hannah Rhoden, daughter of Dana and Christopher Rhoden Sr., mother of the surviving 3-day-old child. Her 4-year-old child was not present, but was with the father, Jake Wagner. Now, right then and there, I'm sorry, but if I was the police, I'd be like, well, where's that kid at? I want to talk to him. You know what I mean? Like, all these people are normally at home, you know, and this baby's not at home this night. GW to the head. Hannah Gilley, age 20, fiance of Clarence Rhoden, and mother of the surviving 6-month-old child, GW to the head. And Kenneth Rhoden, 44, brother of Christopher Rhoden, GW to the head. So, to me, it's like they're not going for like center mass. Like, I don't know. Usually when you shoot to kill, isn't that where you go? Like center mass. They're going for the head. I mean, I guess apparently they said if they go, you know, if they did that, you know. And welcome in, everybody. Hey, Lori. Who else did I see? Wizard Walt. That is still a baby. It's so sad. Hey, Sunday. Hey, Rebel. Okay, so episode 1. So we gotta go back and watch it though, because it was good. Everyone was like, "Don't stop." Episode 1 was basically the Rhoden family, and I'll show you guys actually a picture. Let me show you the picture of them because that'll help also. So this is the Rhodens. You've got Kenneth Rhoden, Christopher Rhoden here. They're brothers. Gary is their cousin. Dana was Christopher's ex-wife. She was still living on the property. And their children, Frankie Rhoden, Frankie Rhoden Jr., Frankie Rhoden, and Hannah Rhoden. And then Frankie Rhoden was engaged to Hannah Gilley. So pretty much married to her, but engaged. and that's the Rhodens there. Now, let me see where we were. Let's see. Before we go to the podcast, I'll show you who they had in custody or who they suspected of doing this. Because they have suspects, they have suspects. It took them a while, a couple years. But nonetheless, let's see. Oh wow, it was like it guessed that for me. I'm trying to see. Yeah. So a little over 2 years. Now let's go over. I was going to have you guys listen to the 911 calls. So we listened to like portions of this whenever we were on our last live, but we didn't hear like all of them. So I believe that these are 2 different calls, and I believe it's all of the call, like the full call. But it says 911 calls released. And let me put this link to this video in the chat. Hey, Pandan. Hey, True Crime Lullabies. Hey, Austin. Hey, X. Hey, Pandan. I already said that, didn't I? Might have said it twice. I don't think I did. Maybe I did, or maybe I didn't. I can't remember. Hey, Kathy. Okay, so. And so before I start this, basically, one of the family members goes over to the Rhodens to feed some of the animals that they have. And that's how she discovers the first of the 2 dead bodies, 2 of the men.
911. Yes, I need help, Jesse. Yes, 40. Let's go. Hold on. I need you to tell me the address. What's the address? Give me just a second. We walk to the mailbox. I think my brother-in-law's dead. Okay, what's the address? Give me just a second. 4077 Unionville Road. 4077. 4077. Okay, 4077 Union Hill, correct? Yes, 4077 Union Hill. Ma'am, you gotta tell me what's going on. There's blood all over the house. Okay. My brother-in-law's in the bedroom and I beat the hell out of him. Okay.
So right there, and we heard that last night, she thinks at first, like, her mind doesn't even compute that, like, someone came in and shot them. They're like, she's like, someone beat the hell out of them. Like, she realizes that they're no longer, alive, but that's just how bad it was. I couldn't even imagine what she saw.
There's blood all over the courtroom. Ma'am, can you tell me what county that's in? Is it Pike County? It's Pike County? Yes, and they drug him in the bedroom. Okay, I need you to get out of the house. Did you drive over there? Yes, I did. Okay, what's your name? Mine's Bobby. Bobby? What's your brother-in-law's name? Huh? What's your brother-in-law's name? Yeah. Ma'am? Yeah. What's his name? Chris Rhoden and Gary Rhoden. Chris and Gary Rhoden? Both of them that look like they're dead. You think they're both dead? I think they're both dead. Looks like someone has beat the fuck out of them. Okay. Is there anybody else in the house? Not that I know of. Okay. The door was locked when we got here, but I know where the key was at. And I went in, and they were laying on the floor. Okay. Bobby, I need you to get out of the house and wait. I'm done out. Okay? I'm standing outside right now. Okay, just stay out of the house. Don't let anybody go in there, okay? Yeah. All right, we got deputies on the way, okay? Thank you. You're welcome.
And then this one is okay. So she was at the house where there was just two guys. There was there's three different locations. So I believe this caller is going to be at the main property.
911. 911. There's Pike County, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah.
This is 911. Can I help you?
Yeah, I need a deputy to come out to close to 799 Left Fork.
Okay.
It's all this stuff that's on the news. I just found my cousin with a gunshot wound.
Okay. Sir, is he alive?
No.
Okay. We're at 799 Left Fork?
It's close to 799. I don't know what his address.
Yeah, I think this was the one that was where it was the camper, and it was just the one guy.
is. You don't have a box.
You don't have a box.
Let's see.
Okay.
I'll be standing out by the road waiting on him.
What's your name, sir?
Donald Stone.
Donald Stone?
Donald Stone.
Stone?
Yeah, I'm his cousin.
What's his name?
Kenneth Rhoden.
Kenneth Rhoden?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Are you out of the house?
I'm out of the house right now. I just went in, hollering at him, and checked his all right now. And I looked up at him, he had a gunshot wound.
Okay, sir. We're going to get deputies out there to you, okay? All right.
Bye.
Yeah, so it looks like let me go back to that picture. That Kenneth Rhoden was found by himself. And then Christopher and Gary Rhoden were found together. And then the rest of the family, it looks like, is going to be found at another location. But I thought I'm thinking Kenneth was at the same location. So we'll listen in even more. I'm thinking that he was at the same location. We don't need to listen in anymore. That's the end of the call. So yeah, I lied. I didn't mean to distract or to say that. So it would have been, let me put their pictures back up. Where did it go? Okay. So Christopher would have been in the same spot as Dana, and then all the kids, and then Kenneth and Gary, I believe, were together. And I know that one was shot in the eye, they said, and then the other one was shot multiple times in the head. Now, I don't know if, in my opinion, if there's two people and they're in the same home and they're in like a killer or a camper type of home, a gunshot is going to wake anybody up. Or a gunshot, I mean, a gunshot going to wake up anybody, right? You're going to hear that. Even if you're in any kind of house, but like, especially a smaller home like that. So I'm thinking, either one of them woken up. And I don't know. I think we'll have a better understanding after we read through the autopsy report of maybe who it was. Because the person, I believe, with more wounds maybe would have been the person that was shot second. But then again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not an ME, so don't take my word for it. Welcome in, Doodlebug. I didn't realize I wasn't scrolled all the way down. Look at me. Look at me. Yeah, all over custody, yeah. So this is heavily redacted, but we will read through what we can, and then we'll watch the second episode of the podcast. Sorry, I hope no one's got me sick. I've had like the worst cough today. Left the house once. No, I'm just kidding. That's not it. That's not it. I've had a cough today. Christopher Rhoden Sr. or Jr. Sorry, he's first. And it's the opinion it says here, and this would be the opinion of the medical examiner. And they were taken down to Hamilton County, which looks like it was in Cincinnati. And they were done at the Franklin P. Cleveland Institute of Forensic Medicine, Toxicology, and Criminalistics. And I'm sorry that it's kind of like hard to see. It's like really faded, but every copy I've found of this has been the same, like, like light coloredness. So Let's blow it up a little bit so we don't have to hurt our eyes, because I do that to myself all the time. Hey, Garrett, welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. If I didn't see you, I'm sorry. And actually, let's just do this really quick. If I do this, then I can see you guys better. Yeah, there we go. Because I'll be reading for a while, so that will help. So okay, so, multiple, I'm going to just call it GW to the head. So, GW would be gunshot wound. Postmortem toxicology, doesn't have anything there, but it says here for Christopher Rhoden Jr., cause of death. It is my opinion based on the autopsy findings and the information available to me at the time of the autopsy that the cause of death is multiple GW to the head. And that was done on 7/11/2016. So then that was done 2011. Hold on. What? 7. Okay. Three months later? Wow. Okay. I was just wondering. I'm like, that's like 3 months. Postmortem examination of the body of Christopher Rhoden Jr. A postmortem examination of the body identified by Pike County Coroner's Office as Christopher Rhoden Jr. is performed at the Hamilton County Coroner's Office on Sunday, April the 14th. Okay, here we go. 24th, 2016 at 7:03 a.m. by Dr. Karen Lumen. I'll say, because I was like, they can't hold a body for that long. I mean, they could, but that wouldn't be good, would it? Wouldn't be good at all. The decedent is a 16-year-old white male who was found deceased in his home with multiple GW wounds. External examination. The body is that of a normally developed, well-nourished young adult male who is 165 pounds, 70 inches in height, and appears appropriate for that stated age. This is redacted, but it says the scalp hair is short, straight, and blonde. There is no mustache, beard, or stubble. It's redacted. The irises are blue. The mouth has native dentation. The chest has a normal anterior-posterior diameter without coastal margin flaring. The spine is straight. The pelvis is stable to manipulation. The extremities are not endomatous, and are free of dysmorphic features. They are redacted, and identification toe tag within the name Christopher Rhoden, 11/4/99, and is on the left great toe. He was born in 1999. Multiple scars or tattoos, multiple small white scars are on the redacted. I don't know why it has to be redacted. There is an irregular purple scar on the redacted. A purple scar is on the redacted. I don't know what. Yeah, maybe marks of therapy, none. And then evidence of injury. There are multiple GWs to the head. The wounds are numbered for convenience and do not indicate the order in which they were inflicted. Other injuries. There is a scab proximal to the pedicellum. I wish I could highlight that. Contusion distal to the left elbow. Oh, there. Okay. The left volar forearm has a 2-inch linear red contusion. An 1/8 of an inch scab is on the redacted. There is a 3-inch linear scab on the redacted. And there were people fighting to get this unredacted for like years and years and years. And then they stopped. They stopped fighting for it. I'm not sure why they stopped. Because I haven't seen the unredacted version come out. So I'm just wondering why they would stop and why couldn't I maybe like ask for it, do a FOIA. So it says here it's redacted. Serious cavities. The right posterior lung surface is adherent to the chest wall. Neck organs, the thyroid gland is congested and purple. Upon sectioning, there is no focal lesions. There is thymic remnant in the anterior metastemium. I don't know what that is. So this is all going to say that it's, pretty good because he was a 16-year-old boy. And the one lung always weighs more than the other lung. We learned that in the Kylie Rodney case. Everything's intact. Just making sure we're not missing anything at all. Yeah, the bladder, the kidneys are good. So the brain, okay, is diffusely congested, slightly swollen and red across the superior surface, and deep purple crosses the inferior surface. Redacted, there is a thin layer of subdermal hemorrhage. There are bullet perforations, and then it just is redacted. The leptomeninges are redacted, but are otherwise thin and free of purulent exudate. I don't know. The cranial nerves and vessels are remarkable. Upon sectioning, the cortical ribbon is thin and even. Okay. Or cortical, sorry. And then skull, and that's all redacted, but you can see there is a fracture, redacted. There are blank bullet. They didn't really redact that very much. They should have just redacted the whole thing. Right? Everything's normal within limits. I don't know what, like, this is. I don't know. Okay, so then we'll go down to the toxicology. They didn't order, I don't believe any. Well, they did, but they don't have any results for the toxicology reports. They ordered them, but we don't have that. They're all redacted. Which, I mean, I don't think that people are going to care if they had a little bit of marijuana or whatever in their system. They had to grow up at their home. So, I mean, that's not going to be like shocking. Christopher Rhoden Sr., again, multiple gunshot wounds to the head, torso, and upper extremity. And this is all redacted. Like, his is all. Cause of death is multiple GWs to the head, torso, and upper extremities. A post-mortem examination of the body identified by Pike County Coroner's Office as Christopher Rhoden Sr. is performed at the Hamilton County Coroner's Office. And it was done on April 24th. It was performed on the Sunday, April 24th, and then April 25th, they concluded they did more. The decedent is a 40-year-old white male who was found deceased in his home with multiple gunshot wounds. The body is that of a normally developed, well-nourished adult male who is 22 pounds, 71 inches in height, and appears appropriate for that stated age. The body was cooled to the touch due to refrigeration. The scalp has male pattern balding, and the hair is short, slightly curly, light brown, and along the sides of the head. There is gray-brown mustache, beard, and stubble across the hair, bearing portions of the face. The corneas are slightly opaque. The eyelids are blue. Okay, just making sure we don't miss anything. He has an oval scar. Doesn't say where. A wide horizontal scar is in the right anterolateral chest wall. The chest wall is slightly depressed at this site. A linear scar is in the lower right chest. 2 punctured linear scars. There's redacted. There is it's all redacted. There are multiple gunshot wounds to the head, torso, and upper extremities. Like, I feel like they were like on a lot of these, they're all head wounds, you know? And I read through them earlier and they were, and I was like, wow. So, we'll see what the next one is. I think it's going to say everything is okay. I mean, other than obviously like the brain, you know, it's congested, red, gray appearance. The parenchyma, I don't know how to say this. It's soft and frable. We need a nurse in here or a doctor. Come up here and give me these words. The crazy thing is, I went to nursing school for 1 semester. I thought I wanted to be a nurse. I definitely didn't want to be a nurse. And I had an A+, 100 in my word terminology. I knew how to say the words and spell the words and knew the words, but it is not coming back to me now. Let me tell you. So skull bolt, there is a bone fracture, and it just fractured, hemorrhage. So I guess we could take with that what we will. Vertebrae, there's a fracture in one of the vertebrae. So laboratory examinations were ordered and the results are attached. Toxicology, redacted. Okay, so Clarence Franklin Rhoden, multiple gunshot wounds to the head. And that's what the cause of death was. And this was done on 7/11, it says. But that's the thing when they signed off on it. Because they did all these in April. So, April 24th it was done. And he's 20-year-old white male who was found deceased, redacted with gunshot wound to the head. Wounds. And he was 260 pounds, 74 inches. So even taller. I mean, they had to have gotten lucky to come like in the middle of the night and use silencers and stuff. We'll learn all about what they were using. So there's just a scar to the upper chest. Okay, they redact stuff, but I wish it wouldn't do that. So I don't think it's stuff that's like that, you know, like groundbreaking. And we'll find out anyway once we start watching the trial stuff. Okay. We'll go down to the next one. Dana Rhoden, multiple gunshot wounds to the head and neck. Like, I think they're all head. Let's just go through them. Let's see. Gary Rhoden, multiple gunshot wounds to the head. Which I could have just pulled up my other diagram that I did. Okay, let's see. Hannah Rhoden, multiple gunshot wounds to the head. I just don't know how they didn't wake one of these guys up. Like, you know, just one of them. Is that all of them? No. Kenneth Rhoden, gunshot wound to the head. And then this is redacted. So I'm not sure why that's redacted there. But we'll find out in time. Hannah Gilley, multiple gunshot wounds to the head. It's just crazy. 8 people in one night. I mean, like what? How many people? And like, I mean, they were all living on the same property. pretty much. Like, that's the crazy part about it too. Okay, so we're going to play through this podcast, and then let me see. We'll see where we're at after this. What's this? Okay. I don't know if I should read. Let's play this first. We'll play this first. Okay. Oh, where's okay.
A production of iHeartRadio.
Oh, and if you guys don't mind, actually, before we start playing this podcast, I will pause it here and there, you know, for commentary and for us to, like, you know, deep dive into the case, because that's what we're trying to do. But if you guys don't mind just taking a second, hit the like button for me. And if you don't mind, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There's like a small group of you guys that haven't subscribed that watch. I watch my analytics too much. And I'm like, I'm going to get that percentage. I'm going to get you guys one of these days. So if you guys don't mind taking a second, you know, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. It really does help the channel grow.
And KT Studios.
And I'll put some pictures up too.
On the morning of April 22nd, 2016, the small town of Piketon, Ohio, awoke to some horrifying news. Spread out across 4 homes, all within a few miles of each other, 8 members of a local family, the Rhodens, were found murdered. They were shot execution style in their beds, the victims of a methodical killing spree. It was an unprecedented and confounding crime, one that would launch the largest homicide investigation in Ohio's history.
Frustration, anger, sadness, emotions are still raw in Pike County.
Most of the people in this town say whoever shot and killed 8 members of the Rhoden family need to be found soon.
I hope that the law enforcement in this area apprehend each and every one. These aren't people, these are monsters.
Episode 2, Wagner's in Custody. I'm Courtney Armstrong, a TV producer at KT Studios with Stephanie Lydecker and Jeff Shane. We produce television series and documentaries. Here's Stephanie.
Okay, really quick, because I forgot to ask. If you guys don't know this case, let me know in the chat, who do you think would have done something like this? Because, you know, they were saying a lot in the beginning, like cartels, you know, somebody that had to have known them. People were saying, no, somebody did this that didn't know them. People were saying this was military style because they went in like the dead of night, shot up, you know, 8 people and then left in the dead of night. So let me know what you think, what kind of, you know, people you think would have done this. And then it'll tell you by the end of this podcast.
For me, this case was incredibly disturbing and personally really hard to stop thinking about. 8 people from the exact same family, all killed in one night, but at 4 different locations. That's extremely strategic.
The 3 of us have been following this case very closely for years. Here's producer Jeff Shane talking to Jody Barr, an investigative journalist who reported for TV station Fox 19 in Cincinnati.
You're not, as a journalist, easily shocked, but like this was shocking probably, right?
Yeah, it was shocking. I would say it was more confusion, because on the typical murder or, you know, a breaking news story, you can roll the events in your mind, but this isn't the typical murder, you know, where there's 1 or 2 victims in a single house and the bad guy took off. You know, this was something way outside the norm. You're just thinking, what is going on here? None of this makes sense, but you knew it had to be something big, because you got 8 members of one family targeted, murdered in their sleep, in their homes, and the killers seemingly vanished. We didn't know the pieces. We didn't know how to put it together. There was no information coming out about these murders, about motives. Even the family members who were in direct communication with law enforcement, even they weren't being told anything. I mean, call it good investigative work, and you hold your cards close to the chest as an investigator. Maybe that's what it was, but from the outside looking in, it was almost like law enforcement didn't have a clue at that point in time.
An
overwhelming amount of tips have been pouring into police, but no arrests have been made
Ohio
yet.
Attorney General Mike DeWine is saying that over 200 investigators and police officers have contributed so far to this ongoing investigation.
Reward is being offered, but the killer has disappeared.
As the investigation dragged on, rumors ran rampant in the close-knit community. And journalists like Jody Barr started digging deeper.
This did seem to be a very tactical, a very clean sort of, when you think of an assassin doing a hit like you see in the movies, you started to wonder if there wasn't something to that because of just how seemingly clean these killings were. I mean, how does one person or a group of people hit 4 separate homes, kill 8 different people, seemingly leave absolutely no trace of any evidence? What does this mean? What is going on here? But after I started having conversations with the Rhoden family, and you start talking to some people who were very close to the victims in this case, at least very close acquaintances, you started to realize that, that there were some people that even I had conversations with in Pike County who I knew they knew more than what they were telling me. I knew they knew more about what happened that morning, and they knew more about the circumstances surrounding the Rhodens that could have led to these murders, but they would not tell it. And I don't know if it was because they were afraid or they didn't want to believe what they believed happened, but all we kept hearing from the Rhoden family, from the people around there, and they would phrase it this way, is that it was locals. What did that mean? We didn't know.
By the summer of 2018, the investigation had entered its second year, and Piketon residents like Barbara were becoming increasingly scared.
It's an extremely sinister thing that occurred. It's like a movie. When I was young, people got along, and, it was, we left our doors unlocked. It was that trusting and relaxed.
Yeah, it
in
was.
Pike County. So we couldn't believe something like that would happen.
I mean, I lived in 2 counties over, and we didn't lock our doors until 2001. I could tell you. 9/11.
Happened here. And it was especially terrifying because no one knew who did it or why. And you don't know if your family's next.
It's just a grisly scene and a grisly situation.
If you are fearful, arm yourself. If you feel that you need to protect yourself or family, do so.
On November 13th, 2018, everything was set to change. Here's Governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, then Attorney General.
Well, good afternoon. We promised that the day would come when arrests would be made in the Pike County massacres. Today is that day.
In a series of arrests that sent shockwaves through the insulated community, 6 members of a local family, the Wagners, were taken into custody.
Pull it out! Just walk up!
Before they get to, shooting them up and stuff like that, they don't shoot them up. I'm going to show you a picture of them. That way you'll know what they look like. So this is the Wagner family here. Husband and wife, George Billy Wagner III. Doesn't he look like a looker? Angela Wagner, age 48. He's 47. That doesn't seem right. Their children are Edward Jake Wagner. He's 26. And George Wagner IV, 27. So that's who they're going to be talking about whenever they're talking about the Wagner family.
Keep your hands up. Don't reach for nothing. Back out of there.
47-year-old Billy Wagner is the patriarch of the Wagner family and was arrested near Lexington, Kentucky in a horse trailer that was pulled over.
Go down to your knees. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
Angela Wagner is Billy's wife and matriarch of the Wagner family. The 48-year-old was arrested at their home near Piketon, Ohio.
Go ahead.
Angela Wagner in the car, 21.
Copy 1331.
Angela and Billy's 2 sons, George Wagner and Jake Wagner, were arrested together during a traffic stop. George was 27 and Jake was 26. 76-year-old Frederica Wagner, Billy Wagner's mother, was arrested at the family's horse farm, the Flying W. Angela Wagner's mother, 65-year-old Rita Jo Newcomb, was arrested at her home.
They even arrested the grandmother.
While 6 members of the Wagner family were arrested in connection with the crime, Billy, Angela, George, and Jake Wagner were charged with 8 counts of aggravated murder.
Details about the arrests of 4 people and the murders of 8 members of the Rhoden family.
Can you imagine that? I mean, you got to actually do the crime to be charged, usually charged with it. But, you know, like they come up to you and they say, we're charging you with 8 counts of murder. Whew. I'd be dead on the floor right there.
Back in April 2016.
Mike Allen, a criminal defense attorney and legal commentator for Fox 19 in Cincinnati, was covering the story when the news broke.
All the arrests happened within minutes of each other. And that tells me that the BCI, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Identification, who was in charge of this investigation, they know what they're doing. And
they do that on purpose. That way one can't call the other and tell the other to get rid of like evidence or tell the other one to run or, you know, do stuff like that.
They wanted to make sure that they effected these arrests without any kind of problems or tipping anybody off. So they had that thing down pretty tight. You've got 4 people charged in the murders themselves. It's aggravated murder, and that's capital murder in the state of Ohio that does have the death penalty as a possible penalty in a case like this. So it is a death penalty case.
How rare is it to have multiple capital murder cases going? I haven't seen 4 people up for capital murder in Ohio before.
You know what? I've been in the system for over 50 years, and the most I've seen were 2 co-defendants being tried for capital murder from the same set of facts, but never 4. So that is extremely rare that you got 4 people, 4 defendants facing the death penalty.
The charges for the 2 other family members were less severe. Grandmother Frederica Wagner, Billy Wagner's mother, was charged with obstruction of justice and perjury. Angela Wagner's mother, Rita Newcomb, was charged with forgery, perjury, and obstruction of justice. But to Mike Allen, one charge brought against the alleged trigger pullers makes one thing clear.
They're also charged with conspiracy, engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity, which means that they all work together on this. I think it's obvious, at least to the prosecutors and the investigators, that this thing, there was nobody freelancing. They were possibly all operating together. Tampering with evidence, that kind of speaks for itself. I mean, you know, once they knew that they were the focus of the investigation, perhaps they did something with the evidence.
We're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in a moment.
Like many of us, you loan and credit card application.
Now streaming only on Missing Stories. But your gym, go week off kind of way.
Sea otters.
Needed to know more about the rodents and
lovers and support our mission to inspire conservation of the ocean at MontereyBayAquarium.org/share your voice.
We needed to know more about the Rhodens and the accused, the Wagners. We also wanted to be in Piketon to learn about the town. So Stephanie, Jeff, and I flew to Ohio.
There was this extremely eerie vibe to the town. There definitely was a sense that something very big was happening real time. It almost felt, a little dangerous.
I think eeriness, as you said, is the best word. Like just something was not right.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon. It was a perfect American small town, right? There's one diner. There's not a movie theater. So again, small, insulated.
And, you know, when we started trying to go door to door to meet anyone who could tell us about the Rhoden family.
I would say every single person we spoke to legitimately invited us inside and could not have been lovelier.
There also was the experience of knocking on doors, knowing very well people are there. There was smoke coming out of the chimney. We physically saw the curtains be closed, and certain people understandably didn't want to speak to us. But those who did, they were so welcoming. We reached out to journalist Jeff Winkler, who was doing research on the Wagner family.
For me personally, when I first got an idea of how the Rhodens lived and, who was related to who and whatnot, I think I originally had the sense that the Wagners were in the same sort of position in terms of property and perhaps financial situation and whatnot. But the Wagners, I was rather surprised to learn that they had, a huge farm. They'd been running various farm businesses on this huge bit of land, or landlords, and there was something of a sort of a family, if you will, in the area. And there were people that we spoke with that had some very open thoughts and loving thoughts about the family.
In all this, we couldn't help wonder, how could this esteemed Piketon family allegedly be responsible for Ohio's most horrific murder? It seemed like everyone had an opinion.
What could be so bad that you would have to unalive 8 people?
Here's Angie Montgomery, a Piketon resident.
When the Wagners were arrested, you had your 50-50. You had people that said, yes, I knew that they did that. And then you've got people that say, there's no way those people did that.
But we wanted to get the story for ourselves, to talk to those who actually knew the people accused of carrying out these ruthless murders.
Hello.
Hi, Dore. It's Jeff Shane calling.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Is now a good time?
Yeah.
This is Dore McAlevey. She's Billy Wagner's cousin, and she grew up with the Wagners.
Were you close with Billy?
Billy was quite a bit younger than me. I was about 11 years old when Billy was born, but I was raised with him, and we had a whole lot of fun. It was so much fun. We all bred horses, and we lived in Ohio, and it was beautiful, and it snowed in the wintertime, and it was beautiful in the summer, and we just had so much fun. It was unbelievable.
He was like a really good dad, right? Like a hardworking, just like sturdy, like good person, right?
All for his family. All for his family.
Dore's depiction of her aunt, Frederica Wagner, was just as glowing.
I spent my summers with my Aunt Frederica. It was awesome because we rode horses, we rode ponies, did all kinds of awesome stuff.
I've heard the nicest things about her, that she was like an angel in that town.
She had to have been an angel in that town, because what I seen for her, what she did for the community, she built a church for the community. She financed the church for the community. She loves people. She loves children.
I didn't hear who they were talking about. Are they talking about Angela? Hold on.
But
right, like a hardworking.
A whole lot of fun. It was.
This is Dore McAlevey. She's Billy Wagner's cousin, and she grew up with the Wagners.
Okay,
Were you close with Billy?
Billy was quite a bit younger than me. I was about 11 years old when Billy was born, but I was raised with him, and we had a whole lot of fun. It was so much fun. We all bred.
I bet it was fun. Being 11-year difference, that doesn't sound like fun to me. Who wants to hang out with it? I mean, when he's like 2, you're like 14. I mean,
horses and
crazy,
we
but
lived in Ohio, and it was beautiful, and it snowed in the wintertime, and it was beautiful in the summer, and we just had so much fun. It was unbelievable.
He was like a really.
Oh, she's dreaming up something now, because Piketon ain't beautiful.
Really good dad, right? Like a hardworking,
No
just like
offense.
sturdy, like good person, right?
All for his family. All for his family.
Obviously, he's all for his family. Look what he had his wife had him do.
Dore's depiction of her aunt, Frederica Wagner, was just as glowing.
I spent my summers with my Aunt Frederica. It was awesome because we rode horses, we rode ponies, did all kinds of awesome stuff.
I've heard the nicest things about her, that she was like an angel in that town.
She had to have been an angel in that town, because what I seen for her, what she did for the community, she built a church for the community. She financed the church for the community. She loves people.
Okay, well, that doesn't get you get out of jail free card. Sorry, but God or Jesus, they don't pass them things out. You can only make them through me and Canva. Okay.
She loves children.
But we were curious, what did DeRay think about the charges against her family?
Our family joke is that there's no way that Betty Crocker and the Dode boys could ever go to an extreme of murder. It's not within their capabilities.
Well, this is going to age badly.
They love animals and they love people, and they are really good at being resilient. And if you look up the word hillbilly,
okay,
and you really research that word,
no,
they were very resilient in taking care of their family.
So what is this lady on something? What the hell does hillbilly have to do with anything? We're going to flip this back 30 seconds.
Extreme of murder. It's not within their capabilities.
Okay, so right there, she should have just shut up after that, but she continues to talk.
They love animals.
Okay.
And they love people.
Okay.
And they are really good at being resilient.
Okay.
And if you look up the word hillbilly and you really research that word, they were very resilient in taking care of their family.
Well, let's just look it up. Hillbilly definition. Okay. It's derogatory and formal, but it's an unsophisticated country person associated originally with the remote regions of the Appalachians. So what is she talking about? She needs to stop hitting the booze early in the morning. Or it means old-fashioned term for country music. So it's regarded as someone that's uneducated. So yeah, she kind of messed up on that one, but whatever.
Somebody did it, but it wasn't them.
Well, they also ain't hillbillies according to the definition, and I don't know.
To get more information on
They said,
27-year-old George and 26-year-old Jake Wagner, Angela and Billy Wagner's sons, we reached out to Christina Howard. Christina's sister Tabitha was married to George Wagner. The pair later divorced. Christina spoke with Stephanie Leidecker about the time she spent with the Wagner family.
My sister spent a lot of time over at George's house before they got married. She was pretty much living with them at the time before she got married. And then after she got married, she straight, moved in with them. And I used to go over there to their house every now and again,
And did he seem like a nice guy? What was his demeanor like?
He was funny. He was always cracking jokes and stuff all the time. So
I don't know much about Jake Wagner at all. What was he like as a kid?
He was actually really sweet as a kid. We got along pretty good because, we just hung out all the time, played video games, went outside.
Was he shy?
He wasn't shy with me. He was a really nice kid. And well, growing up, my sisters were kind of bullies to me. And Tabby, she was dating George at the time. And Tabby, she would pick on me, and Jake, he would take up for me, be like, hey, don't pick on your little sister like that. That's mean and stuff.
Here's a Wagner family relative. She asked us not to use her name, but was happy to talk to us about the family. She remembers Angela Wagner as a caring mother with a big heart.
Angela was just so sweet. Like, she was the sweetest lady. Anybody could ask her for help. I know there was multiple times where there was just, she had heard, like there was a woman and her daughter that was getting out of an abusive relationship, and Angela had just heard about it. She didn't know this lady, she had no idea anything about her. She just knew that this woman and her daughter, needed help. So Angela went and helped her get out of that. She gave her a place to stay. She made sure that the daughter had clothes and food, and she would always do stuff like that for people.
Everything we were hearing about the Wagners seemed at odds with this image of the cold-blooded killers accused of murdering an entire family. But the deeper we dug, the more secrets we began to find. Jeff continues speaking with the same anonymous Wagner relative who speaks so glowingly of Angela Wagner. As it turns out, not everyone in the Wagner family has such a sterling reputation. And when the conversation shifts to Billy Wagner, things take a turn. Here is the Wagner relative's firsthand account.
Do you know when she met Billy and like when they got married and how like that relationship started and progressed?
Yeah, that was, she has been with him for 20 something years, maybe longer. But as far as he goes, now that's a different, like, I and my family, we always kind of thought something was like off with him. We never got to like connect with him in that way. Everybody always kind of knew that there was something strange, or that he was he just had this persona about him. Like he was just a very cold and just hateful person, really, is what I thought of him anyways. He was just a very rough around the edges guy. And when it comes to him and Angela, I'm not sure really on how the beginning of the relationship was, but I know towards the end, like before, or, right after all this happened, he was just very controlling. Very controlling. She was afraid of him, extremely afraid of him, as were the boys. Now their oldest son, George, him and his dad, they were kind of like the same. I don't believe that they're good people at all.
So what can you tell me about the relationship between Angela and Billy Wagner?
I do know that Angela was just afraid to leave. She was afraid to leave. She was terrified that if she did try to leave, that he would find her. Because he made that very clear, from what I've heard and what her father had said on multiple occasions, like, you're not going to leave.
Let's stop here for another quick break. We'll be back in a moment.
Not keeping my child.
You will fail. So what? This workout is fun, and it's okay.
And ourselves, from sea otters to good time. This week, seeing
this account of Angela and Billy's
the latest, highlighting the best products.
Curiosity. So we
visit CNN_.com to find your perfect match today.
This account of Angela and Billy's relationship piqued our curiosity, so we started poking around for more information about the Wagners. Most of what we uncovered had to do with grandmother Frederica Wagner, Billy Wagner's mother, and what seemed to be some potentially questionable business practices. I followed up with journalist Jeff Winkler to find out more.
Frederica Wagner was repeatedly referred to as, a God-fearing woman, was running a nursing home and doing a lot of community service and community care for people. But like the Wagners had a lot of different sides to them.
Exactly. And she had started a church as well. And she took underprivileged kids. If people needed groceries, she brought them groceries. So there is all of that. And then on the flip side, many other people say they were very secretive. There's also allegations of, for example, in the nursing home, maybe some dishonest business and perhaps cheating people who were at a disadvantage out of money. And these are substantiated court documents.
Yeah, the longer we looked into it, the longer it seemed like the Wagners, apart from having property and been there for a long time, they were wheeling and dealing. And I think although they were sort of pillars of the community and involved in the community, certainly, I think that sort of, especially when you have that sort of much to lose, you get protective. Frederica Wagner had very much built the family business. Frederica Wagner was the one who kept the family business going. She kept the family businesses on track. And, when you are building an empire, the last thing you want to do is to see it fall. And they were working on their fourth generation of Wagner dominance in the area. So I can definitely understand sort of protectiveness of that. And in those cases, maybe you close ranks a little bit. You stick to kin. blood is thicker than water.
As we talked to more people in the community, we found that these rumblings about the Wagner's business practices had been circulating for years, and some held a deep distrust of the family and their once sterling reputation. Jeff got Barbara's thoughts about grandmother Frederica Wagner.
All I've ever heard about her is I've heard how wonderful she is, how generous she was. I never heard a bad word about that woman, but just, she knew what she was doing, and she just did what she could do to keep them from being guilty, to keep them from being found guilty or from being arrested.
Oh, well, then that's fine. She was just didn't want them to be arrested. That's fine. Don't charge her with conspiracy or anything. She's fine. Just go home. Have a good day. Go have a massage.
Know what I mean?
Yeah. They seemed like everyone was on the surface, like everyone loved them. And then when this happens, all the other dirt kind of starts coming out.
It's like I can see beneath that surface, I feel like I can see her heart. When I look at her, I just kind of see evil.
But while Frederica Wagner may have been involved in some questionable business dealings, and to some accounts Billy Wagner may not have been the best husband, we still didn't know what all this had to do with the Rhodens.
We're about to find out.
At their arraignment, all 6 members of the Wagner family pled not guilty to all charges. It is worth noting, however, that the charges against Frederica Wagner were eventually dropped, and Rita Jo Newcomb ended up taking a plea deal. There's more to tell on these.
They shouldn't have got no plea deal, or charges shouldn't have been dropped, in my opinion.
Grandmother stories, but we'll get to all that later.
According to official court documents, all 4 of the Wagner family are considered trigger pullers, meaning each one of them had a hand in killing the Rhodens that night, which means they drove house to house one at a time, killing 8 people.
It's also been speculated that Angela Wagner was really the mastermind of this whole plan. When you look at her picture, for example, her mugshot, she just looks like a regular mom that you would see at the market. She doesn't at all fit the profile that I have in my head of what a serial killer or a mass murderer should look like. And if she did do this, why?
Her husband does.
Did she put this plan together because she wanted to protect her own family? And if so, the irony is, if she's found guilty because they're all being tried separately, she may never cross paths with her husband or her sons ever again.
Ever again. And we still got Billy, the matriarch, or whatever you want to call him there. He's still going. He still has his trial to go on too. So we have something to look forward to. Seeing him.
We obviously wanted to go back and see what was the lead up, what brought us to this point, and what was the intersection between the Rhoden family and the Wagner family. We got very curious about the relationship between Jake Wagner and Hannah Rhoden. Here's the anonymous Wagner relative again.
Jake, he had got involved with Hannah Rhoden.
Hannah Rhoden is the middle Rhoden child and murder victim. She was found dead in bed next to her 5-day-old baby, Kylie. She shared a child with Jake Wagner, a 2.5-year-old daughter named Sophia.
Eventually, they had separated and everything, but they had separated, I guess, on bad terms.
Let me see how old Sophia was.
It seemed that the demise of their relationship had sparked an ugly custody battle surrounding Sophia.
Hannah, she was, refusing to allow him to see her, to get her, or any of the family to see her. And so it kind of it got out of hand at that point. It just set him off to the point where Jake, he had made the comments, that he was going to kill her.
Next time on the Piketon Massacre. Piketon Massacre is executive produced by Stephanie Lydecker and me, Courtney Armstrong. Editing and sound design by executive producer Jared Aston.
Let me take the banner down and then turn the camera back one. There we go. There we go. Here I am. So the next episode in this is going to be going over Hannah and Jake and their relationship and all that. It'll go over. It says in episode 3, we talk to friends of the Rhodens who shed light on the victims' lives in the months leading up to the murders. We'll also explore the relationship between Hannah Rhoden and Jake Wagner, the custody battle that unfolded between the two in the months before the Rhoden family was murdered, and the tragic legacy left in its wake. So I think that will be a good episode. And then we'll go back to this. We'll go kind of backwards for a minute. This is what we were looking at yesterday. And we were at June 19th, 2017. So we were going through some of the timeline, and this kind of like coincides with what we were talking about tonight. So it kind of works. So, but it says DeWine and Reeder, this is June 19th, 2017. When were they arrested? Okay, November 13th, 2018. So this was a year before then, if not more. So it says 4 members of the Wagner family. So they Mike DeWine and Reeder's the sheriff. Mike DeWine was the attorney general. He's the governor now. He asked the public for help in providing specific information on 4 members of the Wagner family: George Billy Wagner III, Angela Wagner, George Wagner IV, and Edward Jake Wagner. Investigators asked the public for information about any interactions, conversations, dealings, or transactions that the public may have had with these individuals, which could be personal, business, or otherwise. Specifically, information could include, but is not limited to information regarding vehicles, firearms, and ammunition. So they're getting kind of specific there. Authorities announced the members of the Wagner family who lived at the Patterson Road property searched by police the month before were believed to have moved to Alaska. And they did. A pastor and family friend of the Wagners told the Dayton Daily News that several members had moved to Alaska and were trying to move on. Bet you were in Alaska. All the way from Piketon, Ohio to Alaska. I couldn't even imagine the move. At this point, authorities have not yet officially named any members of the Wagner family as suspects. November 2017, the trailers from the crime scene are moved a second time to preserve evidence, this time to a pole barn built inside the fenced Pike County Sheriff's impound lot 3 miles away from the first relocation site. As you guys know, last night they lifted up the trailers and the home, and they took all 4 dwellings and they placed them on a property that the sheriff's department owned, so that way they could contain the crime scenes in a better way. They were afraid, I think, people going inside and stuff. Even if they have a sheriff, parked there, there's woods all around, I think they were just trying to secure it. It says here, the first location site, a Hadsell Chemical Processing LLC warehouse, was facing a foreclosure after the company declared bankruptcy. So they're like, you got to move. Journalists were allowed to review full preliminary autopsy reports after lawsuits were filed by the Cincinnati Enquirer and Columbus Dispatch. The Ohio Supreme Court ruled that Ohio law allows reporters to view preliminary autopsy investigative notes and findings along with photographs. Initially, only heavily redacted forms of the reports were released in 2016. See, that's the one I was reading on too. I'm pretty sure. I'm positive. And that's why I'm like, okay, it's weird that I can't find the other one. So I might have to do a FOIA. Ultimately, the reports revealed that all Pike County Massacre victims were shot in the head at point-blank range. The autopsy showed all 8 victims were shot with the gun barrel touching their skin or just centimeters away. So I'm assuming they were all sleeping and they were all heavy sleepers. Like, I mean, how you were just, they were just that fast, you know? The number of gunshot wounds per victim, according to the reports. So Christopher Rhoden Sr., age 40, had 9. Dana Rhoden, 5 to the head. Hannah Gilley, 5 to the head. See, like, I mean, how do you need 5? Do you need 5? Like, I don't, that seems like overkill. Like, they didn't want to have to sit there and wait for them to die. They, you know what I mean? Like, they were just like, I mean, that's just a lot. Christopher Rhoden Jr., 4 to the head, 16 years old. Clarence Frankie Rhoden, age 20, 3 to the head, 2 were contact wounds, as indicated by suit of the gun on his skull. So that means it was direct contact from the skin to the gun. Gary Rhoden had 3 contact wounds to the head. Hannah, 2 to the head. Kenneth Rhoden, 1 to the right eye. And then that was September 2018. And then we get to November 13th, 2018. And then authorities announced they arrested 6 members of the Wagner family for their alleged involvement in the Pike County Massacre. Indicted showed that 4 members of the Wagner family, George, Angela, George Jr., I'm just going to call him Jr., and Edward Jake Wagner were charged with multiple counts of aggravated murder. Rita Newcomb, who is Angela Wagner's mother, and Frederica Wagner, who is Billy Wagner's mother, were charged with obstructing justice and perjury. That must have been a fun family affair, you know? Grandma and everything's there. Both the grandmas. Wonder where the grandfathers were. Probably no longer here, you know. Not nefarious reasons, but you know, because their wives probably wouldn't be acting out like that. Authorities announced they should seek the death penalty for all 4 family members charged with murder. DeWine said he believed the massacre of the Rhoden family, the youngest of which was just 16 years old, came down to custody battle over a toddler. Edward Jake Wagner, 26, and Hannah Rhoden, 19, had a child together. Officials said evidence showed that Billy, Angela, George, and Jake developed an elaborate plan to kill the Rhodens. And we're going to go over this in more detail on our next live. Officials said evidence showed, okay, I read that part. DeWine said the Wagner studied the Rhodens' habits and routines and knew the layouts of their homes. Authorities allege the Wagners bought ammunition, a magazine clip, brass catchers. What's brass catchers? Is that the for your gun? I thought that's for. So it looks like it's some sort of bag that goes on your arm that will like, so when you're pulling the, like, you know, cocking the gun or whatever, like shooting the gun, the bullet casing goes into the bag. That's what I think it is. That's what I think it is. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I had this like article. Whoops. So small where you guys can read over it if you wanted to. Also, brass catcher. Never heard of them. Yeah, spent cartridges. Yeah. Look at that. Forgot about that little, you know, piece of information. See what happens when you get back through and read. It's been forever though, since I feel like we've covered this case. It's been like 2 years we covered it and we didn't cover it this extensively. So, basically they were stalking them. They knew their habits. They knew their routines. They knew the layouts of their houses. They knew who lived in which home. They knew all of it. Authorities allege the Wagners bought ammunition, a magazine clip, brass catchers, and a bug detector to prepare for the crimes. The family also studied counter surveillance devices on the property, including pets, and tampered with phones, cameras, and parts of a home security system, investigators said. The family also allegedly constructed a homemade silencer that was used in the shootings, officials said. I remember that. In addition to the murder charges, members of the family were charged with forging child custody documents. You sons of bitches. George Wagner IV This is 2018. Entered a plea of not guilty to all 22 counts he faces. He has been held without bond since pending his criminal trial. That's him. I don't know how long this video is. We can watch it though. Billy Wagner entered a plea of not guilty to all 22 charges that he faces. His trial has not been set yet, but it's set now. I'll have to let you know when. The state, in June 2019, they dropped the charges against Frederica Wagner, Billy's mother. Frederica denied any involvement in the crime and pled not guilty to the obstruction and perjury charges she faced. Prosecutor said she lied to investigators and the grand jury after 2 bulletproof vests were found in her home. What do you need them for, Grandma? Authorities said they believed the vests were worn by the killers as they crept into the Rhoden homes while the family slept. Wagner said she bought them through Amazon after the killings happened to protect her family. Why would you need to protect your family after the killings, huh? Investigators couldn't find a record of her purchase and filed charges against her. She later admitted she bought them on eBay and provided receipts verifying they were bought after the Rhoden family was already dead. I made a mistake, she said at the time. I'm nearly 77 years old. Judge Randy Deering ordered Frederica's charges be dismissed without prejudice and ordered a gag order against the attorneys regarding her case. And then Rita Newcomb, Angela's mother, entered a plea deal with prosecutors. She was charged with perjury, obstructing justice, and forgery. Prosecutors accused her of committing these crimes to protect Angela and her family. Newcomb agreed to plead guilty to obstruction of official business, and the state agreed to drop the forgery and perjury charges. She was initially implicated in forging and notarizing custody documents for the son of Jake Wagner and Hannah Rhoden, but the state said its own handwriting expert has analyzed that Newcomb's signature on custody documents tied to the murder investigation was not actually her signature. Okay. Probably Angela's. Obstruction of official business is a second-degree misdemeanor, drawing a maximum jail sentence of 90 days. A sentencing date for Newcomb has been set, but she has been released on her house arrest following her plea agreement. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here's the one about, so this is all about so Reader, the sheriff I told you, remember last night, I said, I think he got in some trouble, like during this whole case. Yeah, he did. So right here. In March of 2021, Reader, the tall guy with the red hair, he was the sheriff. Reader, who sat at the helm of the Pike County Massacre investigation for years, is sentenced to 3 years in prison after he pled guilty to theft in office and tampering with evidence. You okay back there? She's scratching her ear. Reader pled guilty to 2 felony counts of theft in office when the value of property or services stolen was between $1,000 and $7,500. 2 felony counts of tampering with evidence. The evidence included bags of cash in the amounts of $7,000 and $621. 1 misdemeanor count of conflict of interest, including using his office to secure a 2013 Nissan Versa. Probably could have picked a better car than that. Like a fancier one, Court documents state that he will be forever disqualified from holding any public office, employment, or position of trust in the state of Ohio. Reader was terminated as a peace officer in the state as well. Throughout the investigation into the Pike County Massacre, allegations flew regarding Reader and several other Pike County deputies and potential corruption within the sheriff's office. Reader ultimately never faced any charges related to his involvement in the investigation of the massacre. However, that was the end of it. I thought I was going to say, however, and except, sorry, massacre, however. So, I wanted to see. Okay, so we'll just stop there because this is when he pleads out. So I don't want to go over that yet. Let's see. I think that's all I have for you for tonight. I'm going to exit out of some of this stuff. And then I'll be like, oh, I found something. What's this? Oh, okay. So right here it says there was an obsession with control of the children. Ohio attorney Mike DeWine said it at a Tuesday news conference, announcing the long-awaited arrest in the massacre of the entire Pike County family. We know arrested and charged with the murder of and a slew of other charges were Angela Wagner, her husband George Billy Wagner, and their two sons, George Wagner IV and Edward Jake Wagner. At the center of the case is Sophia Wagner, age 4, the daughter of Jake Wagner and Hannah Rhoden. Christopher Rhoden Sr., 40, his older brother, Kenneth Rhoden, 44, Christopher's former wife, Dana Manley Rhoden, 38, their 3 children, Clarence Frankie, 20, Hannah, 19, and Chris Rhoden, 16, and the cousin Gary Rhoden, 38, and Hannah Gilly, 20, were all killed in their homes on April 22nd, 2016. Most were asleep while the Wagners allegedly executed a meticulously planned attack to wipe out the family, DeWine said Tuesday. There's Reader right here. This guy, he's in jail. Well, he was in jail. 2 others have been arrested in connection with the cover-up, and that was Rita and Frederica. Authorities said Billy Wagner was arrested in Fayette County, Kentucky. Angela was arrested at her home in Scioto County. Jake and George Wagner were arrested in Ross County. That's where I grew up. Frederica was arrested in the family's Flying W farm in Lucasville, which had been previously raided. Rita Newcomb was arrested at her home in South Webster, Ohio. Wow. We read all this, I think. I thought there was something new. Followed up with more than 1,100 tips. Conducted 550 interviews. So dismissed by DeWine and Reader was the theory that the slain Rhoden family members had a soured marijuana business relationship. They also said they didn't believe anyone else was involved. The Wagners moved to Kenai, Alaska from Adams County, Ohio in June 2016, telling the Enquirer that speculation of their involvement in the Rhoden's death drove them to move 4,107 miles away. Really, the point to moving up here was to basically get into a better environment so they wouldn't talk about us. Sophia is getting older, so she wouldn't hear it. Jake Wagner told the Enquirer in July 2017, standing on his family front porch in Alaska there. So, and then it followed us here. DeWine said the family moved back to the area in the spring of 2018. Couldn't stay there very long, could you? While the trial was planned to be held in Pike County Common Pleas Court, Pike County prosecutor Rob Junk did acknowledge the possibility of a defense attorney asking a judge to move the trial out of the county due to the publicity of the case. And they would not move that trial. They were like, no, we're not doing that. We want the money here. That's really what it was. It says there wasn't a scheduled arraignment for the family Tuesday evening. However, each person charged was in custody at various jails in Ohio and Kentucky. They weren't even putting them in the same jail together. Wow. So they're also facing series of additional charges, including conspiracy, engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity, tampering with evidence, unlawful possession of a dangerous ordinance, forgery, unauthorized use of property, interception of wire, oral or electronic communications, obstructing justice, and aggravated burglary. Wowza. Y'all went for it hard. You went from 0 crimes to your whole damn family taking out another family in the middle of the night. And I don't understand why these grandmothers, why they do it. Why do they think they're going to live happily ever after with these grandbabies? They're not going to be caught. I don't know why they think they can actually get away with doing it, It's crazy. It's crazy to me. It really is. Really, really is. What's on this page? Nothing? Nope. Okay, I think that's all I have then. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me look, see if there's anything when I like pop onto YouTube, since my algorithm is now this. It has a lot of this stuff. Well, let's go to Twitter or X. Maybe not. Did anybody get any snow? Oh, there's a child found. That's good. Just seeing if there was anything on X that was going to be that I needed to show you. Okay. I thought I had some more to show you, but I don't think I do. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions? No snow yet, but it's been cold up. Yeah, you got 68 inches overnight and it snowed today. Wow. We got a little bit. I mean, when I came out of the store, it was like a dusting on the car, but it's been flurrying. We actually used our fireplace for the first time tonight in our living room. I use the one in the bedroom every night because I get cold. It's weird. I get cold, and then when I'm in bed, once I'm getting ready to fall asleep, I will break out into like a night sweat. I don't know why I still do these. I don't know why I still have them. It's beyond me. I'm not stressed or nothing. I mean, I'm not like to the point where I should be having night sweats, but I have them like almost every night. So like nothing, I could sleep in like, just shorts and a t-shirt and no blanket in the wintertime and be fine. I hate snow. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of snow. If it's going to stick and be here and be pretty, okay, maybe for a little bit, but not when it's like on the roads and then it's that slushy crap and then your car's all dirty and all those things. Really squeaky. So I was depressing just watching it. Wow, you guys got some snow though. It was 57 at Vegas. Wow, 57 is probably pretty cold for out there. It's pretty cold. It's pretty cold here. Okay, so it's 23, but it feels like it's 10. Yeah. Can I borrow your heated blanket, Bertrand? It's going to be cold here. Man, I'll have to bring out my heavier stuff. I don't really have anything heavier, I feel like. I'd rather just have summer or spring or fall weather all year round, though. I would rather that than cold temperatures. It just makes my metal hurt. Like it makes it get cold. I don't know. I don't know what it does. So is there anything else going on this evening? I don't think there is. Everybody seems to be fighting with each other still, and that's fun, That's fun for everybody. I just don't like listening to it. So I was like, let's see who's on the live tab. And I'm like, oh, everybody that's fighting. What? I'm confused. Okay. I could be confused. I said I could be confused. Oopsie. 8 people to look at one night. Yep. Yeah. 4 houses, 8 people. That's a lot. 50 in Atlanta? Oh, yeah, young black economist. Yeah, me too. I can usually get away with like wearing like without going out without my winter coat until about like this time. And now I'm like, oh yeah, need it on, need all the layers on. The worst part is we take the dogs out 6 times a day. And in the winter, I'm just like, oh, I hate it. I hate it. They're being so good right now. So I'm excited about that. DM, I bet it's warm where you are in the Florida. But I'm going to jump off of here. I don't actually, what is tomorrow? Saturday. It does not feel like a Friday. All my days are all mixed up. They're all mixed up. They're all mixed up. I really have no idea what, like, with Vincent being off today and yesterday, I'm going to think tomorrow is Monday. It's going to be a thing. I already know it. So if I think it's Monday tomorrow, don't mind me. That's all. My dog hates the snow too. Like really bad. Like the gray one, she really does. She hates the rain. She hates the snow. The brown one grew up on the streets of Columbus 3.5 years of her life before we got her. So she's like, whatever, you know, she doesn't care. But the Weimaraner is very prissy. She's the prissiest. She is. 74 with the beach breeze. Wow. That's the best weather. I have an aunt and uncle that lives down in Florida. They live in Port Charlotte. I think they moved from Port Charlotte, but I think they still live in the same area. And then I have an aunt that lives in Boca Raton. So got people down there. My cousin used to live down there. But unfortunately she passed away. So, but her mom still lives down there. So I can always go down and see her mom. That would be fun. But thank you guys for coming in tonight. We'll do part 3 probably tomorrow or the next night. We could skip around if you want, or we could just keep it going on through. It doesn't matter to me. I could put up a community poll like on the community tab and let you guys decide what you guys want to talk about. So because we have 4 seasons of that podcast that we could go through. We got a ton. So, and I'm trying to listen to them before I bring them out because I know some of them, like I'm reading are like kind of redundant. So you don't have to listen to like every single one to know exactly what's going on. So I don't want to bore you guys either. So I will be back on tomorrow though. I will be back on probably during the day sometime. And then if not for sure, tomorrow night, probably the same time, 8:15 or 9:15. Sometimes we go a little later on Saturday nights. So if it's, 9:15, it might be 9:15. I don't know. But thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel and being here and just supporting me and my channel. I appreciate it. But thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye.